Representative Angelos,
Here.
Representative Burkhart,
Here.
Representative Byron,
Here.
Representative Larson,
Here.
Representative Singh,
Here.
Representative Storer,
Here.
Vice Chairman Western, excused, Representative Winter,
Here.
Madam Chairman Newsom.
Here.
Thank you.
So I guess we'll go ahead and start our first and only piece of legislation that we'll be taking up at this point is Senate Joint Resolution 0007, Support for Taiwan. We have Senator Driscoll here, so if you would like to take this over, Senator, that'd be great.
Thank you, Madam Chairman and Committee. I ask for your favorable consideration on Senate Joint Resolution 7, Support for Taiwan. I'll just do a quick overview real quick, and then we'll kind of walk through the bill rather rapidly. Probably now more than any time in history, Taiwan, which is a sister country to the state of Wyoming, and we've got sister towns within them as well, really needs to show us support. We all know what's going on with communist China, and Taiwan is a unbelievable friend to the United States. They do hundreds of millions of trade, if not billions, back and forth. The state of Wyoming does a lot. We have a trade office in Taiwan. For any of you, you know, the first time I got gifted to go on one of the trips there, I had no inkling of what Taiwan was. I assumed it was a communist country that was a little tough, and they were one of the United States' biggest supporters during World War II, and they're proudly stand in support of what we stand for and what we are. So this is a resolution. It's been coming at least since I've been in the legislature. It comes every couple of years. It's basically the same. So if you go through on page 1, bonded by shared commitment, 84, Wyoming adopted Taiwan as Wyoming's sister state. So since 84, we've been there. Taiwan's the United States' 8th largest trading partner, which kind of surprises people. It's a country of 22 million people, and it's our 8th largest partner. It is a huge partner of the Western states in ag products. We send a lot of beef, a lot of wheat, a lot of ag products back and forth. A lot of us in the old days think about them making stuff made in Taiwan that was souvenir items. That's not true anymore. They do piles of medical things, high tech, education, and they're a very high-end country that people are paid well. And I just lied about what it was. Taiwan is $114 billion trade with the United States. Pretty interesting. High-level trade engagement on page 2. Wyoming's 8th largest trading partner in Asia. Both Wyoming and Taiwan are committed to strengthening bilateral bonds, which we've done by opening it. We have a trade rep in Taiwan. We openly do trade missions. There's lots of our products and more every day, everywhere from beef to booze, go to Taiwan and back and forth. They like Wyoming products and they like Wyoming people. Taiwan Relation Act 1979, in the middle of page 2, was the United States when they moved much closer with them. Our education initiative in 2020, which was a result of when we went over there, they started doing straight across with our Department of Education. They trade students back and forth and do one-on-one. It works really well for them. Goes right on through the world community, and then it just goes, this reaffirms what we've done in the past, and reaffirms that we're reiterate support for closer economic and trade partnership between the United States and Taiwan, including the signing of the United States-Taiwan bilateral trade agreement, and send copies over to them. Their delegation will be here. They come every single year. Their trade office person was here several months ago. He spends most of his time in Taiwan, and the Business Council and other companies have really started taking off doing trade. COVID's kind of put a bump in the road for us, but they really are looking for particularly beef from Wyoming if we can get it sourced. It's tough to get it. Really needs to be raised and butchered here to really do it right. But I can tell you, I proudly stand behind this one. This is really a good relationship for the United States, and it's for the United States and their relationship with Communist China. Taiwan's a critical partner for us to be able to stand up to the communist end of China. So I'd stand for questions and ask for your support.
Questions, committee? Chairman Burkhart.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. So President Driscoll, just a question. It sticks in my mind that we did one of these just a few years ago, a joint resolution. Is this just to reaffirm that previous resolution?
Senator Driscoll.
Madam Chairman, Representative Burkhart, yes, we've done them every 2 years. I went in the legislature in 11, and we were doing them since 11. So every 2 years, we reaffirm it. There's been a few changes to it through the years, particularly after we opened the trade office, but it's always been a resolution, and it'll come again, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the president? Okay. Any public testimony? Mr. Magagna, come on up. Welcome. Please state your name and your title.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jim Magagna with the Wyoming Stock Growers Association, also today representing the Wyoming Wool Growers Association. This has a lot of meaning for us in our industry. I had the tremendous opportunity to travel to Taiwan twice with our former governor to work on building this relationship, particularly at that point focused on beef to Taiwan. We were successful in sending several shipments over there and having that marketed in high-end restaurants. And the demand is tremendous. We're not sending Wyoming beef per se today not because of any problem with Taiwan, but because we lack the processing facilities in Wyoming to be able to identify that as Wyoming beef through the process. But if we ever get to that point, that market remains very open for us. On a bigger national scale, Taiwan is currently the 6th largest exporter or importer of U.S. beef. And they had the highest rate of growth in imports in 2022 of any of the countries that we export our beef to. So it has a lot of meaning for our industry, a lot of potential there. And the relationship that we've been able to develop in Wyoming, in part by having the trade office there, in part by just maintaining those relationships with them, I think has helped us in a number of products, particularly in the agricultural community. And I still hope I come to see the day when they become a major importer of Wyoming labeled beef, because they are very interested in that product. They associate Wyoming with Yellowstone National Park. A lot of them have visited Yellowstone, and it's just it's an opportunity waiting to happen for us in Wyoming. With that, Madam Chair, I'd be happy to answer any questions and would urge your support for the resolution.
Any questions for Mr. Magagna? No? Just one comment.
Yes.
I just saw that in Cody, we got a Business Council grant to expand one of our meat processing facilities, and hopefully we'll be able to process 100 head a day and when that expansion's complete. So I'm hoping that will help get Wyoming beef to
Madam Chairman,
Taiwan.
that is something we're excited about. And if I recall correctly, one of the shipments of air freight shipments of beef that went to Taiwan was in fact processed in Cody. The others had to be done in Colorado. But so that may be the little door that opens to enable us to start that again.
Well, I hope so, and excited that it's a USDA inspected facility. And what you may not know is I came to Wyoming as a meat inspector.
Oh,
to Cody.
wonderful. If we can get enough processing going, we may need to put you back into that
Nope,
occupation.
I've spent 5 years being cold, and that was enough.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you, Mr.
Madam
McGagan.
Chairman. Appreciate knowing that.
Other testimony? Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Ron Goldberg. I am the Strategic Partnerships Director for the Wyoming Business Council. Also help co-manage the Wyoming Asia Pacific Trade Office in Taipei, Taiwan. And I'm here to particularly answer any questions you have, but If I may, Madam Chair, just give a kind of a brief overview of where we started, where we've been the last couple of years, and where we are now.
That would be great. Thank you.
So the legislation to create the office passed in 2018 session. We got the office up and running in Taipei in September 2018. We started to make some inroads in 2019, particularly as has been mentioned with the Wyoming branded beef to high-end hotel restaurants in Taiwan. And what I really get excited about is kind of the market-driven effort tied to this, and also work with partner agencies and partners such as stock growers. And then COVID happened too. But in 2019, we were getting a pretty good supply of Wyoming beef to the restaurants. And we were also learning on the ground here. I have no doubt that there's a big demand for Wyoming branded beef in Taiwan and possibly other Asia Pacific countries. But we had to work on the processing here in Wyoming. We commissioned a Wyoming beef study, and at the time the legislation passed, we had one small USDA processor in Wyoming. A few months later, a company that had been working on USDA certification got certified. So in 2018, we had two. We had the beef study out, and today, I'm not going to say as a direct correlation, but it got the talk going about processing capacity in Wyoming, whether it's for in-state or regional, national, international. What we are today here, 4 or 5 short years later, we've got over a dozen small USDA certified processing operations in Wyoming. So it was a conversation starter. Now we're working to see our agribusiness manager and others, is there an opportunity now? Is there a want with processors to look at exporting internationally? But at the end of the day, we have significantly increased USDA processing in Wyoming. So it's a great first step, and this ignited that discussion. Today, there were quarantines and trade shows weren't possible, but our staff in Taiwan was representing Wyoming companies at trade shows over there. We were working in the bioscience area, many other areas, and we've had significant growth with a few distillers, craft distillers in Wyoming, who are routinely shipping product over there. Again, we weren't sure if the market, it's used to the big global distillers. I won't name them, you all know them. And would there be an interest for craft distilling from Wyoming? And we've discovered, to our pleasant surprise, there is. So there are opportunities there. This year in January, we've launched a biweekly 6-week export readiness training webinar. We've had I think there's about 20 participants, and that goes through March. It used to be when we'd have these webinars, we were lucky to have 2 or 3. So the word is getting out. The market is kind of reacting, finding out where it fits, and see tremendous opportunities. And it takes time, as you know, and we're also working with partner agencies. Department of Education is working on some sister high school relationships. And I could talk all day about this effort, but coming out of COVID, we're regrouping last year and this year and seeing some progress. And big thing is the interest from private industry on where this could go. So stand for any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Goldberg? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your work. Okay, committee, any other public testimony? Well, so we'll close public testimony.
Madam Chairwoman, I
Chairman
do have a
Burkhart.
question
Oh.
for the sponsor.
Senator Driscoll, would you rejoin us?
Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. President Driscoll, is it your intent to print this resolution on one of our nice forms and present it to the Taiwanese delegation?
Madam Chairman,
Senator?
Representative Burkhart, yes, assuming we get passed, and probably even if it doesn't pass, but we'll get it all ready so when they get here, it's done. Yeah, we always do that.
Yes. Okay, I just wanted to be clear.
And the other thing that Taiwan said, and just that I really forgot about, is I believe, and it's stopped through the COVID, but they send us in excess of 3 million tourists a year, of which I think about 500,000 come through Wyoming on a normal year, 500,000 to 1 million. And they're, once again, I always thought about Chinese being poor people. I think their average salary over there is pushing 100,000. It's pretty interesting. They're fairly well-to-do people and highly educated. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay. So what's the pleasure of the committee? Moved by Larson, seconded by Burkhart. Any comments or questions?
Question?
We'll go ahead and vote. You would call the roll?
Representative Angelos.
Aye.
Representative Burkhart.
Aye.
Representative Byron.
Aye.
Representative Larson.
Aye.
Representative Singh.
Aye.
Representative Storer.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Western. Representative Winter.
Aye.
Chairwoman Newsom.
Aye.
9
Okay, so easiest bill ever. Who would like to take it on the floor? JT? Okay, so JT will take it.
To go to the microphone.
He is. Great, thank you. So I think that concludes our meeting. And then we'll talk about interim topic, but we don't need to do that as part of our meeting.